Alright, good afternoon everybody. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Token Talk. So, after yesterday's video on the Cronbane halfpenny, I decided that it would be a good time to do a history of Conder Tokens video. So, this is going to be a lot of me just talking. I'm just going to go over the Wikipedia article on Conder Tokens. So let's get into it here. So I already gave the definition in my last video. So it's saying here that the driving force behind the need for token coinage was the shortage of small denomination coins for everyday transactions. So there was a coin shortage in England and some of these other areas. So it's saying that demand was fueled by other factors such as industrial revolution, population growth, and I guess there was a lot of counterfeit coins being circulated. So apparently the governments were not making too much of an effort to handle the shortage. So private business owners and merchants took matters into their own hands. So yeah, it looks like, between 1787 and like 1795, there was millions of tokens of a few thousand varying designs had been struck and were in common use throughout Great Britain. So, that pretty much confirms what I've already kind of known just from looking at eBay so much. There is tons and tons of different kinds of Conder tokens. So it's a good token to get into because there's so much variety. Yeah, so it's saying collecting Conder tokens has been popular since shortly after they were first manufactured, resulting in the availability today of many highly preserved examples. So that's true. I see a lot of these on eBay that are graded or that are very nice condition, and they're super expensive, But that goes with anything with tokens. It's always about the condition. And for me, I've always been a person who I'll go for like the worst condition coins and tokens because they're cheap. But to each their own. It is nice to have super pristine Conder tokens or any kind of tokens, but they usually come with a pretty hefty price tag, so something to keep in mind. But so anyways, now we're getting into the history of the coin shortage, so I'm going to skim through this and just talk a little bit about maybe some key points here because we're already 4 minutes in. Let's see, so it's saying shortage made it difficult for workers to get paid and for transactions to be carried out. They persisted and worsened through late 17th, problematic by the middle of 18th century, so that's like 1750s. So yeah, it's saying the Industrial Revolution made it a lot worse. Population growth between 1750 and 1800, nearly 4 times as many people. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's a combination of factors, but I advise you to check out this Wikipedia article because it's pretty It's pretty in depth. Let's see here. More information on coins and the Royal Mint. Matthew Boulton, I guess, was a major manufacturer of private tokens. That's interesting. Soho Mint was established 1788. Interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not going to read through that whole thing there, but it looks like that guy was, and it looks like it was kind of an ongoing struggle to produce enough coinage. So now it's saying by 1802, production of privately issued provincial tokens had ceased. That's interesting. So they weren't being made anymore after 1802. The return of privately minted token coinage was evident by 1811. So then it's saying in 1817, an act of parliament was passed which forbade the manufacture of private token coinage. And then there was another act passed in 1831 that banned employers from paying their workers. But up until then, late 1700s through, early 1800s, they were allowed to make those tokens, which is pretty sweet for collectors because there's thousands of different ones, All right, how are we doing on time here? 7 minutes. Very good. All right, so yeah, I guess these were early. There was early collectors of these, so I guess right in 1793, this is saying people were collecting these, which is pretty crazy. But so that's probably why there's so many of them are still around. There's a little bit more there on early collecting. I'm not really going to get into that. Topics and designs. Creators had the freedom to make political statements, social commentary. Yep, that's true. To honor great men, ideals, great events, advertise their business. Yep. There's a lot of different subjects. I've seen tokens that fall into all those categories. Yeah. Cataloging and attribution. Conder tokens are named after James Conder, who was an early collector and cataloger of these tokens. So that's why they're called Conder tokens. They're named after that gentleman who was an early collector and cataloger. So he basically had the first reference works, and then the modern collectors, Dalton and Hammer, they're the more modern reference people about these. So on eBay, a lot of times it'll say D&H number whatever. That's Dalton and Hammer. That's their catalog numbers, which is really nice because then you kind of know exactly what it is. You can find it in the Dalton and Hammer classifications. And this Wikipedia article is really awesome, man. They have all the different sizes shown here. I mean, so there was farthing sizes, which were 21 millimeter. That's like about the size of a nickel. half penny, which were 29 millimeter, which is like the size of a $50, and penny, which are 34 millimeter. So, and the vast majority of them are the half penny size, which is a really nice size for a token, in my opinion. But yeah, they have this really nice chart here on Wikipedia that breaks it down by the different counties of each country, and it'll tell you like what the Dalton and Hammer numbers were, which is pretty cool. You know, I was actually looking at this today when I was looking at some different Conder tokens on eBay to try to figure out what they were, what the D&H number is. So there's probably really good books that you can buy too by those authors. You know, Conder or Dalton and Hammer. But with the beauty of the internet, you can just check on Wikipedia, or just a lot of times the seller will just list it right in the listing, which is pretty cool. So yeah, lots of different variants of these, and my advice is just, you know, just start looking at them if you're interested in them, and you'll definitely see a lot of different varieties. Let's see, rarity information. Yeah. So that's about it as far as the Wikipedia article on Conder tokens.